So we are back, boys and girls. Be ambitious because we are back with Katekyo Hitman REBORN, and we are at chapter 135. And this chapter quite literally marks the end of the Varya arc. Okay? And if you are someone who has read and or watched Katekyo Hitman REBORN, we are about to... Ooh, I just got chills, bro. I got chills. Because the arc we're about to enter come next chapter, like fully enter into by chapter 136, when I get to it, it's going to start one of the most recognized arcs in anime and manga. Now, I know some people, it's going to say, no, it's not. It is. I said one of. Listen to my words carefully. One of the most recognized arcs in all of, at least, shonen battle-oriented manga and anime. Okay? This is also the longest arc in the entirety of Katekyo Hitman REBORN's entire franchise. Like, this is the arc that really got people into this series. I'm not going to hold you, right? But nonetheless, we can't discredit all the arcs that came before it and the arcs that will come after it, okay? Excuse me. So if you've read that particular arc, which I will get to in a few weeks, then yeah. And currently right now, if they still are on Samsung TV and on Pluto, they are showing Reborn episodes. I did check currently today, they're not showing any Reborn episodes, but they were showing out throughout the week. So if you are able to catch, go ahead and go watch it. Not only that, before I get into the review, go and get the fan disc Blu-ray and DVD if you can. Okay, Discotek has launched it out officially. You can purchase it on Crunchyroll store, and pre-orders are up right now. It should start shipping within a month. Some people may get it early, some people may get it late, but your girl here has purchased the Katekyo Hitman REBORN fan disc. The disc contains episodes 1, 20, and 77, as well as the OVA, and they're all in English dub. Of course, they're probably going to add the original Japanese language in there as well. So if you want to be able to watch it in Japanese, again, you have the option to do so. But it is out right now, and when I checked on the website, it was number 3 of items being ordered and or sold under the Blu-ray tab. So that's insane. Because if you think about it, we've been waiting for a dub. For a lot of us who are fans, especially on the western side of Reborn's fandom, we've been wanting a dub since before or after 2010. And we haven't received it for many years. Now, Discotek did state, and this was news from all the way of February this year, when they made this announcement about the Blu-ray, that they're not going to dub all 203 episodes because of financial reasons, and they don't really have the resources right now to do so. It's a lot of money. So what they're trying to do is they're going to put this out there. And if they see that it's doing well in terms of people ordering and people purchasing the DVD, then they'll think about dubbing more episodes. So if you guys can, and I understand that some of you are not living in the States and Crunchyroll is not available, but if it does come to, there is if anything, check on Discotek's official website. I will put their link in the description box so you guys can go check out their website if they have it on there to be able to purchase, because eventually they should be able to purchase. Show Japan, show Shueisha, show Weekly Shonen Jump, show B, the one who canceled the series at volume 16, show them, and also just show Akira Amano that, like, she has fans outside of Japan that we love her series. We've always loved her series, and still to this day we are praying for season 2, basically a sequel or an entire readaptation, not necessarily a reboot like a Zoid type. I'm talking about like quite like a Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood or a Hunter x Hunter 2011 or Fruits Basket 2019, that type of thing, from starting from the beginning to the very end. That's all we're asking for. We've been waiting for this since 2010. Okay, and the manga ending in 2012. So if you are able to, if you're not able to buy from Crunchyroll's storefront, then the next suggestion will be try Discotech and see if you can purchase from there and see if they are able to ship to your country or ship through a middleman, aka a third party. We just need to show support. That's what it is. Show support to tell them that we do want more English dub episodes, and we're willing to throw our money. We are. We are. Your girl did. So I am waiting for my package to come, and when it does, I shall show you guys. Unfortunately, laptops do not contain the DVD disc part or the disc part to play it on here, so I'll have to find a way to share, and so you guys can listen to the audio and everything. It's not going to be here on YouTube because I don't want to get copyright, but I'll probably put it onto my Twitter and possibly on TikTok if you follow me on there. And if I do give my reactions to it, obviously more so the audio will be on those two platforms as well as my Patreon. I may even react to it on the channel if I can. So nonetheless, to get into the review, and I was trying a little bit, but like I said, if you're able to support, buy the fan disc. Please show the support. Show that outside of Japan there are a massive amount of fans of Reborn, and we enjoy this series, and we really love you, Akira Mana. We really do. We really do. And we just hope we get another anime season sometime soon. But nonetheless, chapter 135. So as we remember, basically this fight finished because the ring rejected Zanzus, because as we come to find out, if this is your first time reading, come to find out that Zanzus is not blood related to the ninth. In fact, he's just a child that was just adopted off the street because his mother was kind of delulu, thinking because he had a flame and it was similar to the night, she's thinking, I must have been with this man one night and then I end up having Zanzus, so this must mean he's your kid. Take him off my hands. And we never heard of her from again. Neither has Zanzus. But he found out in his secret safe behind closed doors in a diary that in fact that Zanzus was never blood related to him in the first place, and he just accepted him. And despite treating him like an actual son, despite there being no blood ties between the two, Zanzus still went on with the cradle incident from that. And then after 9 years, because he was frozen by the ninth by the same technique that Suna did, the 0 point breakthrough technique, and somebody got Zanzus out of it. In order to get out of that technique, which is not regular ice freezing you, you need all 7 rings to basically create a flame to melt the ice. Without the 7 Vongola rings, it's not possible. So they freed him, and then he decided to do all of this, talking about the successor in order to get the rings and everything, and then go after the ninth again, even using his own father as a life support for the Golem Mosca, leading up to all the events, leading up to the final fight leading up to many fights from all the Guardians, and then the final fight between him and Suna, which was an intense fight, and then trying to put on the ring, and the ring rejected him, causing him to spit up massive amounts of blood, causing a lot of internal injuries, and yeah. And once the ring rejects you, there's no possible way for you to inherit and become the successor of the Vongola. So in other words, that means Suna won. So we saw from chapter 134, we saw where Belle and Mammon, who looks to be in better health than most of the other characters due to getting the antidote and everything, were trying to attack Suna, but of course he got protected by his crew. But then obviously the Varya were not playing fair to begin with. They were going to jump everybody, and they were to get their numbers and overwhelm Suna's crew, who were still recovering from their injuries, as well as the poison that was going to end their lives in 30 minutes if they didn't get the antidote, which they managed to do. But again, they were all still recuperating. And obviously, they made sure anybody that was in the standee box that was watching the entire fight could not get out, so they were stuck. But then we had some help. I know last video I forgot his name, but I didn't forget it this time. He showed in the Kyoko arc. He was the false Mukuro. I'm talking about Lancia. Okay, I will say this. Do we see him again afterwards? I believe we do. I believe we do see Lancia one more time in this series, but it's going to be way later down into the series. But it's nice to see him because, as we know, back in the Kyoko arc, he was being manipulated and he was under the genjutsu technique of Mukuro Rukuro to attack Suna, to take him down, and eventually Mukuro would have took over Suna's body and therefore caused complete mayhem in the underworld of the mafia and then coming up to the surface, aka politics. But he was defeated, and come to find out that Lancia wasn't as much, I mean, yes, he was part of the mafia, and because he was under control of Mukuro, he ended up destroying his entire family, and he's been wanted by the Vendiste and everything. But it looks like the Vendiste gave him parole in this chapter, because he defeated the other group members in the Varya, and he came not to save and help Suna's crew, but to thank them for freeing him. And this is where it goes back to like where Chrome was saying this is who Mukuro was telling her about, telling that someone is coming, and it was actually Lancia. So the thing is, what's funny, after he was being used by Mukuro, Ken and Shikusa completely forgot about him because they were also shocked to see that he came here, and they didn't realize how dangerous Lancia actually was. So yeah, they're like, oh, this is the boogeyman. How did he get out, but Mukuro couldn't? Like I said, he probably is on parole. Okay, so they did try to, Bell and Mamon did try to attack Suna, but he was being protected by everybody. All of his guardians came to protect them and everything, and this is where they were overwhelmed because their people on the Varya side, they got all demolished by Lancia before they can get to the battle scene, and it's the only two who can actually stand up was Bell and Mamon, and they're like, you know what, y'all got it. I don't want no parts of this, because even though y'all is really not up to help, Lancia is going to prove to be a problem, and then Hibari still is a problem despite being injured, and Chrome is going to use her illusions. We got Goku there ready with his dynamite, and then we got Yamamoto coming in here with the sword. Like, we're overwhelmed, so this is it. We're done. Boss, give up. give up. This is a fight we can't win right now. We are finished. And obviously, despite being heavily injured, Zanzis can't help but run his mouth. And he's like, all of you are useless. I'm gonna curse you to death. But my guy, the fight is done. You tried twice, and you failed twice. This now leads to where Dino and Squallow are talking in the arena box that they were trapped in. And then he's wondering, like, is Zanzis going to give up on getting the seat towards the Vongola? Which Squallow answers saying that no, in fact, his hatred is going to burn deeper and hotter, and he's going to find a way to get back at everybody. And that the fact that, like, everyone here today, those who are opposing Zanzis, they're going to regret the fact that they won and stayed in this lifestyle, because now they're going to see how dark the mafia world truly is. They're so naive, thinking this is going to be all roses and daisies and everything, but they're going to see how bad it can get, and they would have wished that they perished within this fight than to continue on with the succession, and then so on and so forth, with Suna being the actual 10th head of the Vongola Familia. So now we have where the Cervello basically make the announcement that since Zonsis has been disqualified, now the actual successor to the Vongola is Suna. Of course, we have where Zonsis is like, so you got your wish made. He was talking to Cervello, basically because from the context of this, it's not so much as like they wished this to happen. It was more so the ninth, because they still work close tying hand with the ninth Vongola currently right now, because he's still in seat despite his old age and despite the injuries he sustained because of Zonz's wrongdoings. He is still currently the head. We have to go through the succession and everything for Suna to be accepted. And then eventually when time comes, then Suna becomes the next head once the ninth steps down. But this entire fight was for Suna to be accepted, and then the next step will be to inherit, right? But that's what he was basically saying. And the Cervello was just saying like they couldn't predict anything. We didn't know exactly what was going to happen, and that Zonz's role in this entire thing is over. And yeah, so they basically, like I said, they made the announcement that Suna is now the successor. And the winner of the Sky Battle is Suna. And everybody is cheering on his side. They're all cheering and everything. So now he gets the ring. Everyone is alive on Suna's side because he is the main character. He's the second main character along with Reborn. So now we have where everybody can go and wrestle. By the time they do, like Suna and even Reborn, they're so exhausted from all the battles that took a week. Because every day, every night, after, I guess, 11 p.m., they had to go back to the school to go and fight one of the Varia members. And then this fight now in itself took so much physical and mental and emotional toll on Suna, even Reborn, who didn't even participate physically wise, that these two were clocked out, and it's understandable. So the next day comes, and now Suna wakes up, and he's like, dang, this all felt like a dream, but it really happened. Like, yeah, I feel tired. I'm waking up in the afternoon. By the time he goes downstairs, he sees Lancia in his living room and with the kids all over him. And it's a funny sight because Lancia does look scary, but the kids, they don't care. They like it. That's Big Brother Lancia. That's Uncle Lancia to you. They do state that like his mom is telling him, you know, there's a celebration, there's going to be a party, and he's wondering, does my mom know that I'm part of the mafia? They covered up and saying that the party is for Lambo being discharged from the hospital. Remember his fight with Leviton. And he did end up having to go to the hospital, and then he did recover and everything. So they're under the pretense that it's to celebrate Lambo's discharge from the hospital, but it was more so to celebrate that Suna and everyone on his side won, and now they can all rest, okay, until whatever the next task of operations is. So he has to go to Reborn and Lambo, and everybody else that needs to goes to Yamamoto's house, where they are having sushi and all types of food there to go and eat, and to celebrate that Suna now has inherited and is a successor to the Vongola. So for the time being, while, you know, the ninth is recuperating and everything, the ninth is still going to be head of the Vongola. But like I stated before, Suna had to be deemed a successor, and then eventually he'll inherit, and then after that, the knight will step down from his position, and then Suna will now be the next head of the entire organization. Once he realizes that, and he's like, yo, this is where the Warrior arc ends, because by the last page on the chapter, we have where, like, Suna is thinking, also, by the way, in regards to Zanzis and the entirety of the Varia, they heard that, like, in terms of his punishment, which he got away the first time, but this time around, no. His punishment now is being handed out to him by Suna's dad, Imitsu, and the Ninth. So I'll just let you guys know, if it's your first time reading and or watching, they never told us exactly what Zanzis and the rest of the Varia has to go through in terms of punishment. But obviously for another coup d'etat, it's probably going to be way harsher than the first time round, okay? But then again, it goes back to where Suna is, like, going back to his daily life, where he's picking up on his homework. Reborn is being the very studious and very strict tutor that he is to build Suna up to be a successor for the Bongola, and also for him to pick up his grades and do well in school, because not only physically should he be strong, but he should be academically strong as well. And it is, so far, it goes back to his daily life. Remember the daily life arc that a lot of people don't particularly like yet? It went back to that for like a few panels. And Suna even himself is wondering, like, with everything going back to the way it was, because all of this seems like a dream, then the next day I wake up, I wouldn't realize that Reborn is no longer in this world. He's no longer part of this world. We see where Suna is running outside, out of breath, screaming, "Reborn, where are you?" And that's it. That's how chapter 135 ends. After everything that has happened and transpired from daily life arc up to the end of the Varia arc, Reborn has been consistent so far in Suna's life. And it's just one day, Suna wakes up and then he finds Reborn missing. And I'll say it here right now, this is the start. It's going to fully start, but chapter 135 kind of already gave you a spoiler with its chapter cover of a grown-up Yamamoto and a grown-up Gokudera. The end of this chapter going into next chapter signifies the beginning of, like I said before, one of the most renowned and most well-known anime manga arcs of all time, or at least within the past 20 so years. And that's the 10-year arc. Okay? And if this is your first time, you're gonna be in here for a ride, because there's so much that happened in that arc. And I will say this personally, every time I go back to Reborn, and I was rereading over the years, I did stop for quite a while, but every time I will go back and reread Reborn, I don't start from the very beginning. I will start at random parts. I will start in the 10-year arc and just read on from there. Or I probably might start at the Varia, like the ending of the Varia, then go reading up. I would start at the arc that's after the 10-year arc, because there are 2 arcs afterwards. I will say the names: Inheritance Ceremony arc and the Rainbow arc. But it was just my preference to just start anywhere. But I will say this, it is the longest arc, because in the anime, and this is now going, kind of coinciding with the fan disc, episode 77 was the start of the 10-year arc. And technically, chapter 136 is the start of the 10-year arc. And episode 77 to episode 203, you know how much episodes that is? That's like 196 or 186 episodes, minus the filler episodes, so it can be a little less, but it's in the hundreds, that cover the entirety of the 10-year arc. And I know, yes, they did do what that word would be. They did do recaps at the beginning of the episode, so it was stretched. But it is the longest arc, both anime and manga version of Katekyo Hitman REBORN to date. So we're gonna be on this particular arc for quite a while before I get into the inheritance, and then I get into the final arc, which is the rainbow. And I am highly anticipating those because I have never touched those on the channel. I mean, the same thing with 10-year arc, but like those last two arcs are particularly my favorite, with 10-year being my third favorite arc of the series. So nonetheless, guys, do tell me in the comment section below and how you felt about Katekyo Hitman REBORN chapter 135. If this is your first time reading and or watching, what were some things you were able to take away from this chapter? What are your anticipation? What is your request in terms of the next arc? What do you think is going to happen? If you are someone who has already read and or watched, how do you feel about overall the 10-year arc of Katekyo Hitman REBORN? Would you like to see that arc redone in today's time? Do drop your thoughts down below in the comment section, and all the links are in the description box, guys. And I'm Kimi-chan, and I'll see you guys later. Bye! With